Hello and welcome to QUTV Sports This Week. I am your host, Kaylin Lowry. Women's lacrosse takes on two non-conference opponents. Softball players head to Florida for the spring break, but they may not be spending it on the beach. And one sport wrapped up its season and honored their students who are moving on. We'll have all that and more, but first, seniors on the basketball team can now focus on finishing this semester. The team honored its seniors at the last home game. QU men's and women's teams took on UIS, looking to end the season with a win for both teams. Anthony Lundy brings us the highlights of both games.
Thank you, Kaylin. Unfortunately, both teams took heartbreaking losses, but managed to give the fans a really good game. Let's take a look at what went down.
For the women, although there were no seniors to celebrate senior night, the Lady Hawks brought great basketball. Throughout the first half, they were battling constantly to gain ground on one another, but the first half was separated by 2 points. As the game went on, the Hawks were led by Samira Williams, as we see her making crucial layups, as well as play strong defense with a nice block here. The key to her success was driving the ball in the paint, as she made a couple of impressive layups. Other notable players to help propel the Lady Hawks in the game was Marion Blass, as her off-dribble jumper was landing consistently. Nobody could forget about Chomp Danzo, as she provided essential help down in the paint for the Hawks and provided quick buckets. Spacing the floor was a huge part of the success from downtown, as Janice Dawson lands a wide-open three. Michaela Huffine filled the point guard void, as she was a playmaker down in the paint throughout the game. In desperate times, the Hawks were shut down by the Prairie Stars, losing 74-79. They did not go out quiet, as Samira managed 30 points and 11 rebounds, racking up a double-double. Marion Blass had 13 points on the night, and Chomp would almost have a double-double of her own, finishing with 8 points and 12 rebounds. The Lady Hawks would finish the season 10-18 overall.
The men's game, on the other hand, was on the verge of becoming a blowout until the Hawks rallied back and put on a show. Let's take a look at the highlights.
The Hawks managed to get ousted in the first half as they were down quick, with UIS marking up 21 points in the first couple of minutes of the game. This would lead to the Hawks managing low numbers as they had to get down and dirty in the paint, with John Kelly taking control of the offense early on. Zion Richardson was starting to heat up himself as he would make a couple of tough baskets to bring some livelihood to the Hawks team. Here he makes a heavily contested layup. This would bring the Hawks down 21 after the first half. The Hawks have been known for their second half performance and started a quick 7-0 run. Richardson was getting it done from deep, but this was the wake-up call that the Hawks needed, as many other players were contributing as well. As we see here, Isaiah Foster was getting shots down from deep and driving the lane hard to gain enough momentum, and suddenly we have a close basketball game. The Hawks would be assisted by the Young Bucks in their senior night, as freshman Jake Hamilton came up huge for the Hawks down in the stretch. The name of the last 10 minutes, though, was Nate Shockey, as he would take control of the offense for the remainder of the game with a three-pointer and a couple of mid-ranges. Zion down the stretch was quiet except for his clutch and one to put the Hawks down by 6. Zion would leave his career with a 20-point game. Shockey would walk away as the leading scorer with 22 points and Foster with 18. Unfortunately, the Hawks would fall short to UIS 97-89. The Hawks finished this year 11-17.
And that ends the men's and women's basketball seasons. Despite the score of the game, a group of players won the hearts of the crowd that night. It was senior night for men's basketball. A few players reminisced about their past games. QUTV's Jack Weiss got a chance to ask the seniors about their time on and off the court.
Senior night gives the players time to reflect on their experiences at QU. Beyond the court, John reflects on personal growth.
And it's really not only a player, but I would say I've grown and developed as a man. Really just learning the ins and outs of life. Coach does a great job of teaching us how to survive the real world because the ball's going to start bouncing at one point. So I've just developed, seeing it from that point of view has helped me be a better player actually and a better man as well.
Unfortunately, Solomon had to reflect on his injuries.
When I had to throw in the towel for the season and succumb to my spinal injury, I don't think I've ever cried more when I had to tell my coach that I just couldn't go. But you know, I've stepped into a new role and I've been really happy to do so. So everything's on the up and up.
Nate reflected on what his biggest motivator during his basketball career was.
It's got to be my dad. He played college basketball as well. He knows, he's been through the same things that I've been through, and you know I'm always talking to him. He's giving me advice. He's telling me what to do, telling me stories about what he did back when he was in college, and it's just been awesome to have someone like that in my life that's so close to me that I can relate to and talk to about anything really, basketball or not basketball.
The advice for the younger players was to be patient and soak it all in, because you'll never know when will be your last game.
Great way to wrap up the basketball season at QU. Now coming up, the men's baseball team took out their talons against the Davenport Panthers. Plus that, and we head to the Diamond when we come back.
Are you looking for a career that combines innovation, problem solving, and creativity? Quincy University's engineering degree program specializes in electrical and mechanical engineering, providing students with a well-rounded education with hands-on experience.
We're looking for exceptional engineering graduates with the skills necessary to take on the challenges of today.
Let Quincy University help you achieve your goal. Contact us today and we will design a success plan just for you.
Discover the opportunity to pursue your degree with Quincy University's Illinois Tuition Promise program. If you're eligible, you'll receive 100% coverage of tuition and books, making college affordable. We'll design a success plan just for you.
At Quincy University, your success is by design. Rooted in the Franciscan and Catholic tradition, QU has more than 50 academic programs that will set you up for success. We'll work together to design a plan just for you. Visit discover.quincy.edu to schedule your campus tour today.
Welcome back. Men's volleyball has been on the struggle bus lately as their devastating streak goes on with a hard-fought loss to Lincoln Memorial University. Now let me take you back as we go over a few clips from that game. Now let's start it off as the Hawks of Quincy did battle with the Lincoln Memorial Rail Splitters. Rajay Aline entered the game angry, furious, trying to end this losing streak. Here's Aline with the serve and giving the Rail Splitters an ace of spades, fast serve leading to points for the Hawks. Great serve by Dylan Freely here. Now here's Dom Weigel with the assist to Aline, who sends it over the net, bouncing off the Splitter defenders. Here's a setup by Cole Kusht and a powerful kill by Griffin Wheatley, but it's out of bounds, point for the Hawks. Here the ball is set up by Freely and it is sent right in the corner, barely staying in by Zach Georgeski. The scoreboard went out late in the second set, so they had no choice but to go old school. And the coaches Kemner of the Hawks and Hogg of the Splitters tried to keep their players locked in during this impromptu break. But the Splitters wasn't giving up that set that easy, getting aggressive. Here's the serve by Wheatley. An awkward save by Aline, set up by Freely, getting sent by Zach Georgeski, but it's blocked by the Splitters, who end the set off in victory. Now the Rail Splitters left Pepsi Arena victorious, and for the Hawks, this disappointing losing streak continues. They then faced off against Linwood University, where the Hawks fell once again 0-3. The Hawks have now lost 24 straight sets in a row. You guys do the math. That's 8 straight 0-3 losses for men's volleyball. It seems like the Hawks have gotten tagged here. Turning from volleyball to lacrosse, Jake Vitale has more on women's lacrosse and their season.
Thank you, Kalen. Quincy University women's lacrosse hosted number 12 ranked Maryville for their non-conference home opener.
Number 12, Victoria Kita. Number 13, Caitlin Soriano. Number 15.
The Quincy University women's lacrosse team hosted the number 12 ranked Maryville for their non-conference home opener. Despite the crooked result on the scoreboard of 17-5, there were some positive takeaways for the Hawks. The Hawks held the Saints to under 20 goals, which was a first for the Saints lacrosse team this year. The Maryville University Saints came to play and came out hot against the Hawks, starting off the first quarter with a 12-0 run. Eventually, in the second quarter, Danielle Robinson, unassisted, was able to break through and score the first goal for the Hawks. The Hawks scored another one that quarter to the Maryville Saints, 1 in the same quarter. The second half was not as high scoring as the first, with only 7 goals between the two teams being recorded. The Hawks fought all the way down until the end, with their last goal coming by Danielle Robinson with only 7 minutes and 50 seconds left, making the final score 17-5. The Hawks and the Saints will face off again April 7th at Maryville University in St. Louis, Missouri, trying to spoil their senior night and pick up a GLVC conference win.
And that's all for the match between Quincy and Maryville. Back to you, Kaylin.
The Hawks may have dropped their game against Maryville, but had a quick turnaround to bounce back. Here's Ryan with the breakdown.
That's right, Kaylin. It was a quick turnaround indeed, with their next game coming Monday against Notre Dame College. The Hawks bounced back in a big way. Hawks got off to a slow start in the beginning of the game, but once they found their stride, there was no looking back. The Hawks handled Notre Dame College with ease, beating them 20-10. The leading scorers for Quincy were Danielle Robinson and Elena Wilkinson with 5 goals apiece. This was a real statement win, with 20 goals being the most the Hawks have scored in a game so far this year. This win moves the women's lacrosse team to 3-3 on the year. The Hawks will go on a bit of a road trip, with their next 4 games being on the road until returning to the Rock to play Dominican University of California on March 24th.
The nice weather we're having signals that it is time for baseball. QUTV's Henry Balmer joins us now with a preview of this spring sport.
The Quincy University baseball team looked to turn around their rough start to their season with a 4-game series against Davenport University.
The Hawks started off the series on Friday with Game 1 against Davenport. Griffin Kern started for the Hawks, and he did not disappoint. Kern had 11 strikeouts through 6 in the third scoreless innings. Offensively, the Hawks started off well but cooled off at the end. The offense was headlined, though, by Austin Simpson, who had 2 home runs on the game. Saturday, the Hawks had a doubleheader where in Game 1 they got off to a slow start. The Hawks pitching was good out of the pen, and bats started to heat up, but it was too late as they lost 6-3. Pitching started off well in Game 2 of the doubleheader as Kobiesian threw 3 straight scoreless innings, but the Hawks' bats still seemed to be cold as the Hawks were down, but after 3 doubles in the 4th, that all changed. After an RBI single and a stolen base in the 8th inning, the Hawks ended up walking it off on a balk. Game 4 was a different story for the Hawks as they came out red hot with the bats. The Hawks tallied 16 hits on the game, which 6 of those were extra base hits. The Hawks also had 4 home runs, which helps them to jump out to the lead they sustained. And to end it, Joe Huffman hit a laser to left to end the game.
The Hawks won the series 3-1 and head this weekend to play a 4-game series at William Jewell.
Thanks, Henry. Turning now to softball and the Lady Hawks, Wesley Martin talked to the team before a major series of games.
That's right, Kaylin. The softball team hit the road to the airport early, headed to the Winter Haven, Florida for spring games.
Quincy University's softball team had a light practice the day before they head on the road just to tighten some things up and make sure they are prepared to play. Thus far in the season and in the tournament, the Hawks are 6-6 and are looking to compete and add some more wins, finishing up non-conference play.
Obviously, the record overall means something to us, so every game is important, and it just allows us to get ourselves ready and feeling good about who we are as a team before we hit that conference, where that's really, kind of one of our main focuses, so we can give ourselves an opportunity to make our conference tournament.
Mainly looking forward to making memories with all of my teammates, getting a few more games under our belt, and overall just having a good time down there.
After the Florida trip, the Hawks start conference play at home March 16th at noon versus Missouri S&T in a doubleheader.
And that's all we have for you. Thanks for joining us for this edition of QUTV Sports This Week. I'm Kaylin Lowry. You can find more stories at QUmedia.net and on our social media pages. Have a great day and have a fun spring break. We'll see you right back here in 2 weeks.